We are
Ooh,
live.
hoo,
Hey,
hoo.
Alexa, welcome to the
Hi,
podcast.
Ron. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming up to Chattanooga and having a play date with me.
It's literally always our pleasure. I love to play.
It's such a good time. And I kind of feel like this has been, I mean, not a long time coming, but we've been talking about it for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
you need to get on the podcast. Let's have a chat.
Yep. A
Guys,
chat.
a chitty chat. Alexa is my friend of,
Like over 10 years?
yeah,
Yeah.
over a decade.
Crazy.
And my roommate in college turned postgraduate, still friends, hanging out together.
Yep.
And she is now mother of one and a business owner.
All the things.
Yeah. So I guess, well, I just did a little intro, but you can introduce yourself a little bit and then we
Yeah.
can just talk a little bit more.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Alexa. Like Ronnie said, went to Georgia State, go Thurs with Ronnie. gotta bleed blue, you know? With Ronnie, we met, I think, when I was 18 or 19.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Children.
Wild ride. We were reminiscing yesterday about like how freaking old we are now. It's insane. But yeah, I live in Atlanta currently, married, mom of one. My daughter Edie is what, 5 months older than Ronnie's daughter?
Yeah, almost to the day.
So they're having play date down with dads right now.
They took a bath together last night. It's very cute.
So cute. It's like the little things now when you're a parent. You're like, this is everything to me. And it just wouldn't have been anything special a year ago.
I would have not thought that us turning up at Tongue and Groove T-minus 9 years ago, that friendship would then result in you coming up to my house and our baby is like playing in the bath
Yeah.
together and us like drinking a water on the couch and being like, wow,
I'm like 9:30. I'm like, oh, bedtime, you guys.
let's go to sleep.
Yeah, but live in Atlanta with my husband, and I currently work a full-time corporate job. I've built a career in like HR, people and culture, career development, learning and development. And then, yeah, I launched my own business in January. So relatively newer, but doing like career alignment, career strategy, pathways coaching. And it's been really awesome so far. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. Hopefully manifesting a move to chat to be next to Ronnie sooner rather than
Yeah.
later. But yeah,
Slowly but surely, everybody's going to make their way up here.
you have a pull to you.
When we were in college, you changed your major how many times?
7
7 times.
7 times. I was recounting the other day, and it's like, it might have actually been 8, but we'll go with 7. I, like, changed back to one major, like, twice.
Dude.
But, yeah, my poor parents. It was a lot.
Were they all in this similar fields or were they totally different?
No.
Okay.
Like, half of them were, and, like, that kinda makes sense, but let's see if I can walk us through it. I started off at the University of Tennessee, actually.
Go Vols.
Go Vols.
Yeah.
GBO. It was my dream school. I was so hyped to go there. I went for a semester and I hated it. And transferred to state thinking that I would like transfer out because I didn't want to go to Georgia State.
Yeah.
And I ended up loving it, meeting my best friends there.
Hey.
And yeah, it was a great experience. But I started off as an interior design major. I got a scholarship for interior design to Tennessee. When I went to Georgia State, I switched to pre-nursing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a midwife. And let's see, I was like elementary education at one point. I was an English major at one point. I have a minor in that now. What else? It was I randomly like transferred. Do you remember this? I transferred to Kennesaw State for like 1 week, literally. And I was like an event management major.
Yep.
Because I was like doing floral design in college and I really loved that. And I was like, oh, just like do this for my career. And I transferred schools literally for 1 week. And I was like, this is for the birds. This is not for me. And luckily Georgia State like happened to start the semester a week later. And so I
You're
was
like,
able
never
to,
mind, I'm back.
yeah, I was like, can I come back? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like classes start on Monday.
I do remember that.
Never fully like unenrolled. So I was a little bit everywhere. I ended up graduating with a major in human learning and development.
Yeah.
And with a counseling focus and my English minor.
And since graduation, you've kind of been working in the L&D
Yes.
field for a
Yeah,
while, right?
I have. So right out of college, I actually moved to New York for a second and I was doing more of the event stuff. And then COVID happened, like literally 3 weeks after I moved to New York and spent all my life savings to move to Brooklyn. And then COVID happened and I came back to Atlanta. And it was like, I think in retrospect, exactly what should have happened. I got my first like real job out of college doing school placement and like educational consulting. So I was working with students and then transitioned into corporate learning and development, where I've kind of built my career over the past 5 years. So I would say that's the majority of my career.
And I feel like you've always had this, I don't know if it's a knack for wanting to help other people figure out what they're going to do, or you have such a vested interest because you took such a long
Mhm.
journey to figure out what you want to do. But
Mhm.
I feel like it is interesting how it all kind of plays into what you are doing now currently with
Yeah.
your business, Loom.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I think I guess had like imposter syndrome for a while. I've always known that whatever I was going to do, I wanted to help people somehow, and I've like taken different avenues on what that was going to look like. But I had such a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do that it was always in the back of my mind of like there needs to be someone, something that helps people figure this out in like the right way. Like it's not just like the sterile, cold career coaching. Like it's so hard as an early professional or a student or even like a mid career professional. Like it's a leap of faith to figure out what you want to do. And it's really personal work. And so that was always in the back of my head. And I just felt like, who am I to help other people do this? I changed my major 7 times. Like
But doesn't that make you that much more qualified?
Finally, I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I think the irony is, like, my superpower in that," you know?
Yeah.
So, finally, I was like, "Alright, I have this personal investment, this personal journey." My educational background lends itself really nicely to it, and then once I worked in, like, L&D and, like, career development for, half a decade, I felt like, "Alright, I have the chops, the wherewithal to kind of stand behind now," and took the leap.
When did you realize, like, at what point in your career did you realize, I don't want to be working? Actually, I take that back because I feel like since you started working in corporate America, you're like, I never want to do this long term.
Yes.
So I don't feel like you ever went into the workforce being like, this is it for me.
No.
I'll see you guys in 30 years when I reach retirement.
Yeah.
I feel like since the beginning, you were thinking along the lines of, I need to end up doing something for myself or
Mhm.
for a smaller company. Like, it's not going to be big corporate concrete jungle
Yeah.
where you currently are.
Yeah. No, it's funny, like, our friend Hannah is always like, "You should never work in corporate." Like, I don't
Yeah.
know why you ever worked in corporate.
Yeah.
And I think starting off in my career, I just wasn't sure, you know? I was like, this is just kinda like what you do, and, like, I don't know. I got this good job, and I have good benefits and good pay and, like, whatever. But I knew very early on that it was not for me long term. I like to have a little bit more, like, flexibility and control of my own time. And I think the biggest thing for me is I have to be doing something creative in some way.
Mm.
And I think creativity, like, looks very different for different people. But just going to, like, the corporate 9 to 5, like, beige office slowly crushes my soul.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I was you were talking about the floral work that you did in college, and I was, like, remembering you have always been an entrepreneur in some sense because when we were in college, Alexa literally had, like, a couple fold-out tables in our living room, and she would make floral bouquets for events, and it was called, gosh, I followed you on Instagram, but I can't remember what it was called.
So mine, I did a little spin-off there for a minute, and
Yeah.
mine was called Emerald and Amethyst.
Yes.
I'm very into, like, the meaning behind names, like, even with Loom, but it was my grandmother's birthstone and my birthstone together. I know.
Cute.
Very sentimental.
But even back then, we were in college. Like,
Yeah.
no one's doing their own businesses in
Yeah.
college. And there you were hustling and grinding, trying to figure out, like, is this what I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I didn't even realize it at the time that, like, that's kinda what I was doing. I think
Right.
it took me a while to figure out, like, this is the path that makes the most sense for my life.
Yeah. So then now here we are, it's 2026. You launched Loom in
Mhm.
January.
Mhm.
You mentioned, like, the meaning behind Loom. So what's the meaning behind it?
Yeah, so the whole idea is weaving purpose and career together, and so a loom, like a yarn loom, but I spent, like, a lot of time figuring out what the name was gonna be because I want it to be authentic to me. I'm a little bit artsy-fartsy. I didn't want it to be, like, a super cold, like, career like, Adam's career coaching, you know? Like, that's not the vibe, and that's not what I want Loom to be. It's very personal,
Yeah.
very warm, and yeah, Loom, weaving purpose and career together.
Yeah. Did you have a moment where you were like, this is what I should be doing right now?
Yeah, yes and no. 'Cause so like I said, this was, like, always kind of living in the back of my head, like, I love careers. I love researching career, and I go deep. Like, and I think that's why I changed my major so many times is I love learning about different things to do with your life, and I get, like, really deep invested in them. Um the psychology behind, like, why it works for others and why it doesn't work for someone, like, it's just so interesting to me, and I've
Mhm.
always needed help myself with that, and so it's been in my head, like, blah, 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 whatever, and then I had Edie, my daughter, and I just knew, I was like, "Something has to give," like, I don't sometimes it takes a big event to, like, push you to take the risk, you know? And having her, I think, gave me the courage and, like, the motivation to be like, "Okay, yeah, it's scary, but, like, I can do this, and I'm gonna give it my best shot."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So then if someone wants to come to you,
Mhm.
what would be the reasoning for that? Like if they're who's your ideal client?
Yeah. So I work with students through, I would say, like, mid-career professionals. But I think that sweet spot is really like a college student or an early career professional. Like, you're in your 20s, maybe early 30s, and either you're having a hard time figuring out like what you want to do
Mm.
with your life. Maybe the options seem really endless. Maybe you've been a high achiever your whole life and then you get to college and you're like, wait, I'm kind of like in control of my own destiny. Like, the structure is gone and you don't know what to do with that.
Mhm.
That was kind of like my own experience. Or someone who maybe you graduate and you have this degree, you get into the job and the reality sets in. Like, it's really easy to think a job works for you on paper or in an internship or in your college major classes. But once you get in the job, you get in your lifestyle as an adult and you realize, this is not what I want to do for the next 30 years. Like, is this as good as it gets? Like, if you're asking
Mm.
yourself, is this as good as it gets? Like, come talk to me
Mm.
because I promise it's not. And yeah, like, I just wanna help people skip to the good part as much as possible before you wake up and you're 40 or older and you're like, "Wait, what have I been doing for the last 20 years?" You know?
Yeah. Do you think that people have to go through a phase of life where they are in the bad part in order to have this self-realization that,
Yeah.
okay, I am not doing what I want to be doing versus, going straight into what they think would be good for them?
Mhm. Yeah, yes and no. I think 9 out of 10 people just will. Like, you will go through the experience where you're like, "Wait, this is not it," or
Mhm.
like, "This is not what I thought it was gonna be." And that really helps. Like, I think about my own journey and would it have been nice to just graduate college, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do Loom. I'm gonna be, like, a career strategy coach." Awesome. Sure, but I draw on, like, my past experiences so, so, so much. So I think there's something good in that. A career is never gonna be linear, even if you figure it out way earlier. Like, there's going to be a certain company that you work for, a certain manager that you had, or something. Like, it's never just cut and dry. So I think even if you get to the good part quicker,
Yeah.
you're still gonna have some experiences to draw from and help you get to the next thing.
Yeah. I'm glad you said the not linear piece because you're talking about how you're so interested in like researching careers and what is involved in it and what's like the history behind it and how do people
Mhm.
end up here. What have you found, I guess, from people in terms of just their trajectories when they, let's say, someone at 20 versus someone at 30 versus someone at 40? And I ask because I feel like I have a lot of people on that have started their own businesses
Mhm.
or have started and then sold and then are doing something completely different. And I do feel like it's interesting the way that it truly is not linear, like
Yeah.
for many, many people. So yeah, I'm just curious, like, are there, I guess, certain timelines where people start to realize things and then start their own things because of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's very different. I love working with students just as much as professionals, but
Mhm.
it's a very different experience. And I think the biggest thing and one of like the main 4 pillars of the work that we do with Loom is around values and excavating what your values are. And I think the older you are and the more established you are in your career or in your life, like maybe you have a family or maybe you've made a major move or whatever it is, your actual intrinsic values start to show up more versus when you're 20 years old.
Mhm.
And that is so important. And I think that's something that people don't think about with their career is like, what are my values outside of professional life?
Mhm.
But it ties into your career in every way imaginable. And I think when you're a little bit older in your career, you have those more established and you understand them more. And so you can pull from that.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. So my one of my top values is family centrism.
Mm.
And that means like my family is a guiding pillar in my life. I think about them and how it affects them and what it means for my family in pretty much every decision that I make. But that is not everyone's value. Even if you have a family, you have kids, you have a spouse, whatever. But for example, like one of my other values is achievement and like the desire to have like external validation and praise and accomplishing these things oftentimes in your career. And those two values a lot of times conflict with one another. But it's hard to pinpoint, or you just feel like inadequate in both areas
Right.
if you aren't very aware that those are two of your core values and you aren't very aware of how they conflict with one another and you really understand that for yourself and how it shows up for you. And like once you know that piece, you can start to make sense of it and like build a career that like gives you pieces of each. And so it's really important work. But yeah, I use a tool called Values Bridge.
Okay, I was just about to ask, how do I know the values?
Yeah, so I use a tool called Values Bridge and it is amazing. And there's 16 values. It's like very validated, like scientific program.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Okay. That's interesting. So without knowing just upright, these are my
Yeah,
values, then you could be in a career that you think on paper is perfect for you, but then you could just feel lack or just
absolutely.
like something's not
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I can identify with that. What do you think my values are out of the
Ooh,
16?
I
I haven't
definitely I definitely think family centrism is one of your
Yeah.
values for sure. I think you probably have a big value of radius and
Mm,
agency, so like wanting to create change or like make a name for yourself. The idea of radius is like if your life like was dropped as a bomb on Earth, like how big of an impact would it make? And then agency is like you want to be the one calling the shots. Like you don't want to
definitely.
report into someone for the rest of your life, and
Yeah.
you want to be in control of your own life.
And that's the thing. It's interesting that that's like your impression of me
Mhm.
because it was not until I was out working in real life, graduating physical therapy at 25 years old that I realized some of those things about myself.
Exactly.
And it's hard sometimes to know until you've just been through it.
Mhm.
So it is interesting, but I do like that.
Yeah.
Radius, I learned.
Yeah.
Another thing I've learned from you from following your Instagram is aptitudes. I
Yes.
didn't even really know that word. Can
I
you
know.
explain it?
Yeah, so aptitudes are like what you're naturally good at, like your
Okay.
natural abilities, but it's different than a skill. And I think that's where people get confused. It's like, okay, your aptitude is not Excel spreadsheets, like that's a skill that like anyone can learn in theory,
Sure.
but it's kind of how your brain is naturally wired and your innate abilities. So think about things like the assessment that we use, test things like numerical reasoning, spatial visual like awareness, sequential thinking, like just how your brain is wired and how it naturally works and solve problems. And then you kind of translate that into, okay, what careers lend itself nicely. Like if I have really horrible visual spatial awareness, I probably shouldn't be an architect or an interior
Or
designer
a surgeon.
or a surgeon. Get the wrong part of your brain real fast.
Whoops.
My bad, guys.
Sorry, guys. This is my
My
visual
visual spatial
spatial.
awareness.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Aptitudes. Okay, cool. I like it.
it's
I like the
fun.
process. So then you run people through like the whole gamut of tests.
Yep.
Are any tests like the Myers-Briggs or the Enneagrams involved? Because I love the Enneagram.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I love the Enneagram as well. I don't currently use it.
Okay.
I was really into the Enneagram in college. I went through this like
Same.
spiritual awakening with the Enneagram.
What are you?
I'm an Enneagram 4 wing 3.
Okay. Is that
Yeah.
unique? I feel like that's unique.
Yeah.
I don't
Because I'm
know
like
many
I'm
fours.
the individualist, like the
Okay.
artsy fartsy girly,
Yeah.
but I have the wing 3 of like the achiever.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I want to be unique and different, but like still I want to crush.
But still tell me that I did a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give me a gold star.
I'm a 7 wing 8.
7's like the enthusiast, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you're like just live loving life.
But I think 8's kind of like a bitch.
Yeah. You're dominant.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. What about okay, last one was oh gosh.
Is it the Clifton Strengths? Yes.
The Clifton Strengths.
Yeah. I don't use Clifton Strengths. We kind of do like reflective exercises to like figure those out without the formal assessment. I try to keep the formal assessments more to a minimum. I love them, but I know like not everyone loves them. I think they're super fun and cool.
Right.
But the main 3 to 4 that we use, depending on where you're at in your journey, is use science, and that is your aptitudes. And it's not like this super long, like multiple choice. It's like brain games, kind of.
Okay.
And then I use the HBDI. So I'm a certified practitioner in the Herman Brain Dominance Instrument, but it's whole brain thinking. And so basically it's your thinking style and your work style. And I love the HBDI. Then we use the Values Bridge to excavate your values. And then depending on where you're at in your life, we use 16 personalities, which is basically Myers-Briggs. But yeah, those are the core. but I love all of them.
Yeah. So those results, along with whatever conversation that you're having with the person on, session 1, session 2,
Mhm.
session 3, you combine all of those things and then you sort of guide them to this is what I think you should be doing, or like here's a list of things that I think would best suit you.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do, especially if you're a professional, is, we have the session, we talk about like I'll go way back. Like, tell me about your childhood. Like, let's get deep. How are your parents? Because you could be surprised, like what patterns and like thought process was kind of instilled in you around work.
For sure, like especially if your parents did X for work and
Mhm.
maybe you were supposed to be in the family business, or like
Yeah.
everyone in my family has been in medicine, so I have to be in medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm working with a student right now, and she's younger, but she's really driven and, like, very perfectionistic, um, and her mother is a lawyer, and her dad is a nuclear engineer,
Mm,
and so she feels like this she's like, "I have to do something, like, better than my parents," you know?
yeah.
So it's interesting. But, yeah, like, we do a lot of, like, reflective talking, we walk through things, I see patterns, like, we'll call them out, we'll talk through, like, "Why do you feel that way?" We do all the assessments, and I'll glean all the insights from there. We'll talk through those. You can see the connections on like how your thinking style lends itself nicely to your aptitudes and to your personality, and kind of overlay them. The idea is like if I create a giant Venn diagram with
Hmm.
your aptitudes, your interests, your values, what's in the center? And then how do we like make that into a career path?
Cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have any success stories that you can share so far? I know it's like
Yeah.
relatively
It's
new.
relatively new, but I was working with a student. She is a college student and going into her senior year. Um, and she knew kind of like what she wanted to do generally, but like you're like, I'm gonna do communications. And like what does that mean?
I still don't know.
There's so many things you can do with
I have
that.
no idea what that is.
Right? It's like talking. But there's so much you can do with a major. And you don't realize when you're younger in your career, like there are thousands and thousands and thousands of job titles. It's not just, I'm going to be in advertising, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a teacher. Like we kind of, on the surface, we know like, maybe 25 to 50 job titles. But when you really get nitty gritty, there are so many subspecialties within everything. So, yeah, I mean, we went through the whole process. We talked about what her values are, what she wants for her life, what kind of lifestyle she wants, where she wants to live. Like, as granular as you can get. And we figured out, maybe it's campaign coordination or maybe it's like talent management within a very specific industry.
Hmm.
And so now like she's applying for internships in those areas
So cool.
and has like a lot more clarity around like where she's headed versus, yeah, like I have this degree in PR and communications and just gonna throw a lot of darts at the wall and like see where it lands.
I think that's really a great point to make is the fact that we know of all these blanket terms for careers or even just majors or industries, but there are so many ways that it kind of gets like nitty
Mm-hmm.
gritty and into the details. And
Mm-hmm.
as an 18-year-old kid trying to apply and just assume, I don't know, like this is what I think I'm going to do. That's got to be really tough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where I was at that point in my life and what I thought. I mean, I just like applied to school and I was like, I'm just going to be a PT and I just
Mm-hmm.
stuck with it. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe like out of stubbornness more than anything. But I can imagine that even now it's almost probably even more overwhelming with like how much information is out there and how many options you feel like are available to you, but you just don't know where to start.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really overwhelming, especially I think there's like a I know, we can hear our children
Our kids are
screaming in the
just
background,
screaming. I'm
squealing.
like, what time is it? It's supposed to be nap time. What are they doing?
Adam? I think it's kind of a crutch when you're good at a lot of things. Like, people think, "Oh, it's so nice to be good at so many things." But when you're good at a lot of things or you have interest in a lot of things, oh my god, it's so hard to figure out, like, what to do and, like, where to put that energy because there are so many options. So, yeah, really honing in, like, I could do these 5 things, but what's, like, the one that makes most sense for me?
Yeah. Are you a Substack reader at all? You ever
No.
get on there? Okay.
No.
One of my favorite Substack writers, his name's Alex McCann. He's actually coming on the podcast in like 2 weeks. He wrote a piece called The Death of the Corporate Job.
Mhm.
And so well written. Like that's the reason why I reached out to him because I was just like so impressed with
Mhm.
his writing. But the whole premise of the piece is he talks about how he lives in London, I think,
Mhm.
somewhere in the UK, and he sits on the subway and he watches it's not a subway there. It's the tube.
The tube.
He sits on the tube and he watches people get ready for work and they're on their way to work and they are dressed up and they're playing the part of this corporate job. And
Mhm.
then on the way home, like fast forward 8 hours, 10 hours, people are they're undressing, they're changing into whatever persona like they take on post work, and they're going to do whatever side gig they do after their corporate
Yeah.
job. It's called the death of the corporate job because that was just one observation he made, but he was basically saying many people this day and age, they're doing their job that takes them, they work 5 days a week, but it takes them probably 4 hours of actual work
Yeah.
over the course of a work week. And then the rest of the time they're spent focusing their time and energy on something that's going to have better return on their investment. So like their side gig, like a Loom, like a rehab with
Yeah.
Ronnie. And I thought it was so interesting because I think there is something to be said about the way that so many things are automated these days and the way that a lot of jobs, like you were saying, there are so many titles and so many things that probably aren't even necessary. And so people are now realizing that, oh my gosh, I have a lot of this time just unused. Let me make a better use of my time and try to start a side gig. And I thought that was really interesting because that's essentially what you did or
Yeah.
are doing.
I am doing. Yeah. My husband's doing it. Like you did it.
Mhm.
Adam's doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, literally.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it, guys.
Maybe that's why it resonated with me so much because there are so many people in our lives, and I think there's something to be said about approaching the age of 30 where people really start to take a step back. And they're like, okay, wait, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Should I start something else? And then that's motivating because you're around people that are doing the same thing. But I just thought it was something worth noting because I think especially as technology advances and things just become, some jobs just are going to become obsolete.
And there are jobs that are going to be huge industries that don't even exist yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy. And to that point, like there's this buzz kind of thing going on right now. There's a lot of articles about it that people are. I just lost my train of thought. I don't even remember.
It's called mom brain. It's okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm
No, it's
13
okay.
months postpartum. I shouldn't have mom brain anymore.
I can
but I do.
edit it out.
It'll come back to me. Anyway, keep going.
Anyways, so Alex McCann, Death of the Corporate Job,
Yeah.
highly recommend this read. He also has started a career coaching company,
Ooh.
but it's AI driven.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not shitting on his. I'm not saying anything about yours, but I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on AI taking over this sphere of
Yeah.
career advice, career coaching? And I don't know his process, and I'll learn more about it when he comes on.
Yeah, I can't wait to
But
listen.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, I'm having Alexa on. She does
Yeah.
her very curated approach to career coaching. He has this AI powered career coach.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So I totally use AI like on the back end.
Yeah.
So there's so much benefit from it. Like just like with any other job, like that's just the way life is, and you use it to make things faster and better and all the things. And I have my thoughts on like how it's ruining the environment or whatever, but
Yeah.
like it is what it is, like that's just the way the world is, and I'm gonna utilize it.
Yes.
So AI definitely helps me as a coach, but I personally think the key difference in like, yeah, it's an AI career coach versus it's still like a human coach who maybe leverages AI on the back end. I don't know. Like, I think career is so deeply personal and your story has so many nuances to it. And it's such meaningful work to like have those conversations with another person and figure that out. Like the human approach to me is just so important. And AI is awesome and it's crazy like what it can do and can infer. But I feel the same way about like AI should never be like your therapist, you know?
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of similar in the human approach to it.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that for sure. And like you said, there's so much nuance and you get to know somebody so well
Yeah.
and make those just deep personal connections, and pulling out of your own history versus maybe AI is like they don't have that personal
Yeah,
history.
it's like shared experiences, shared advice, shared wisdom, just like relating in like a authentic human way of like, yeah, I've been there too. And like, I don't know. I think the empathy piece is really important to my approach to it. And yeah, can't do that with AI.
No, true. Speaking of AI, I just was telling Adam the other day, I was like, I'm so sick and tired of people reaching out to me via email. And it is so obviously an AI generated
Yep.
email. And you can tell like they signed the last little bit or they hit send, but it is taking over the world of copy and people just typing it. And I get it. You don't want to type out a full email, that's fine. But when
Sure.
it's so clearly not even a little bit your voice, pisses me off a little bit.
I know. I'm
You
like,
know?
take it and like just edit it.
Yeah,
Just edit it in your voice. Like they can give you the shell, they can give you the
exactly.
V1.
Yeah.
But like just take 5 minutes.
It drives me nuts. But that's a story for another time, I
Yeah.
guess. Did you remember what you were gonna say?
No. It's so gone.
That's okay.
It's so gone, but kind of similar to what you were talking about. Like, there's an idea of the velvet coffin and living like a B plus life. There's a professor at NYU. Her name is Susie Welch. And Susie, if you're listening to Rehab with Ronnie, I love you. I love your
Girl.
work. But the velvet coffin is an idea that she talks about on her podcast. And it's the idea of like a corporate job is comfortable, right? Like, it pays your bills, it's stable. Like, your life is not bad, but
Mhm.
it's just not like what it could be, and it's not maybe what you want it to be, but you feel stuck in it. And you're slowly dying. Like, you're in the coffin, you're not happy, you're not doing what you're meant to do or want to do, but that coffin is velvet and it feels real comfy and it feels real scary to like get out of it. And when I heard that, I was like, it like shook me to my core. I was like, I'm laying in a velvet coffin. Like,
That is me.
that is me.
I embody
I'm
this
dead.
concept.
But I think more people are like waking up to that. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say now.
Yay!
So there's a lot of studies going on right now of our generation, because I think it's a total generational thing. Like, our parents and our grandparents, they went to work and they had their 9 to 5, and their 9 to 5 paid off for them. Like, you had plenty of money to, if you had like a standard job, you had money to buy your house and your house built equity. You had money to take vacations. You had money if like you wanted a spouse to stay home to do that. Like,
Your 401k could actually help you support your retirement.
yes, exactly. Like, it meant something and it was building towards something. And so those generations are like, yeah, like, you just go and you show up to your job and you work hard and you build a nice, stable life. And full respect to that. But I think people in our generation, like younger millennials and then especially Gen Z, like coming up, they see, for whatever reason, like, that's not what's going on right now. Like, you can bust your ass working 9 to 5 every day and you can't afford to buy a house. You can
Houses
barely
don't cost $40,000
No,
anymore.
you can barely afford to buy groceries sometimes.
Fill up your
Like,
gas tank.
yeah, so people are like, it's the reward isn't what it used to be, and so why am I doing this? Like, I'd rather take the risk and maybe build something more on my own terms
Yes.
because the other is not guaranteed anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And the ability to be able to do something and make a lot of money pretty fast is so much. I mean, we have so
Yeah.
many more tools at our disposal
Mhm.
now than our parents ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, we are old enough to remember like when the internet came out, kind of.
Kind
Like,
of, yeah.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
And nowadays, people are creating online businesses and doing more for themselves, and I think that's an awesome change. It's a trend towards entrepreneurism. Is that a word?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool.
No, it is cool. It is, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit scary for me thinking about being a mom, and I'm like, "What is the world gonna be like for Edie when she's 20?" You know? Like, I just can't even imagine it, but people probably felt that way about, like, the internet, you
Mhm.
know? They're like, "Holy, this is gonna change everything, and we're doomed," you know?
Yes.
And, like, that's just not the case.
Yeah,
Like,
I was just having this conversation, and I can't remember with who. It was not on the podcast, but they were like, "I just don't even wanna think about what the world's gonna be like when they're teenagers." And I was like, "Yeah, but picture when people came back from World War II,
yeah.
and there was the boom, like, baby
Mhm.
boomers are from that generation of people came back from the war, and they're like, 'Let's start families.'" What a positive outlook. They
Yeah.
just saw so many people die, and they're like, "It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on."
We're
Like,
gonna be okay.
the human species is gonna live, and
Yeah.
the internet's probably not gonna kill us. We'll be alright.
We'll be well, I don't know, up for debate,
Well,
but yes.
yeah.
No, we're good, and I do think it's very interesting to, like, be an early career person in this time. Like,
Mhm.
our parents, I guess maybe the internet, but, like, not every generation lives through such, like, an intense technology boom like we're living through with AI right now,
Yeah.
and, yeah, it's unknown, and, like, people totally understandably are like, "What the heck is gonna happen?" Like, the world is gonna look so much different than it did when I was a kid, but like you said, I mean, the Great Depression, like, there
Right.
have been cars being invented, the internet being the cell phone, like,
The car was invented and people were like, "What are the horse-driven carriage drivers gonna do?"
literally. Yeah,
And guess what? They're fine.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're probably not around anymore,
They're
but they were okay.
they're gone. No, but I mean, I feel like we've been talking about flying cars since we were, like, 10, and, like, guess what? There are no flying cars yet.
I don't think it's
you
gonna
know?
happen.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you can't get too wrapped up in that. You just gotta roll with it.
Right. Someone explained AI to me, like, how it'll be baked into our lives just like the iPhone is, just like
Yeah.
the internet is, and that gave me some sense of peace. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, yeah, it's just gonna be something that is a tool that makes our lives easier, kind of automates the mundane tasks so that we can have more agency and do more things.
Yeah.
And I really like that thought versus like the AI robot's gonna come take over your
Yeah.
house and like kill you.
Yeah. And I did see something, I don't remember where, but it was kind of to that point of in X amount of years, 10 years maybe, like most people will be entrepreneurial. They'll be like self-employed in some
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
Because yeah, probably like your office job, if not all of it, a lot of it will be obsolete, and that can sound scary right now, or it can be like exciting
Right.
of like what is it gonna, you may not have any idea what it's gonna transform into, but like it will transform into something else.
Yes. It makes me think that, let's just say 10 years from now, 50% of jobs that exist right now have been automated and are done by
Mhm.
AI and probably done better by AI,
Yeah.
maybe. There, I think, will be a divide between the people that take advantage of that and say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna make my life this much more efficient and then also utilize this tool to help my business grow." And then
Mhm.
there's gonna be the people who take advantage of how lazy they can be
Yeah.
with AI and
Yeah.
just be like, "Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna disappear."
Yeah. My husband, loves AI, and he always says that he's using it to escape the permanent underclass. He's like, "Baby, we gotta escape the permanent underclass." But, like, kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're just using it to, like, I don't know, fool around, like,
Yeah.
you can use it as a really powerful tool. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not like Mrs. AI by any
No,
means.
me either. But it's an interesting conversation, and I brought it up because of the career coach, and I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. But I want to talk about making the jump from just working your 9 to 5, and I don't wanna say just as in
Yeah.
that's not important, but
Mhm.
doing that to then also launching a side gig.
Yeah.
So how's that been?
It's been a balance for sure, and there are totally some days where I feel like I'm not crushing it at either, you
Mm.
know? But, you know, I went from just working a corporate 9 to 5, child-free, no side business to, okay, I have a baby, trying to keep alive, love her, spend time with her, and work my 9 to 5 and do good there, and then launch Loom on the side. So a lot of trial and error to, like, figure out what balance works for you and what schedule is gonna work for you, and it takes some grind for sure, but it's worth it.
How is it worth it?
I love what I do, and again, like, I'm just, like, a nerd over this kinda stuff, so, like, it really does give me energy, and that's what I want to help other people do is, like, do something that, like, yeah, you're grinding after a long day of 9 to 5 work, commuting home, bath time, bedtime,
Mm.
dinner, meltdowns, all the things, and you still sit down and you're like, "Wait, this is so fun, and this is so cool." So that piece, and then also because I know my values and I know what I want my life to look like, I know that it's worth it because I'm building something that's gonna get me where I wanna go, you know?
Yes, I do know.
Yeah, you do know.
And I'm glad you said the part about feeling energized and excited about it because it made me think of this memory. It was, the last day of 2025, so it was, uh, January
Mm,
31st, and we had just gotten back the night before from a Titans game. No, morning of, and we were
mhm,
so tired. We had driven from Nashville to Chattanooga. Delaney, my PT, was on vacation, and we had 2 or 3 new patients scheduled for that day, and I was just so exhausted. I was coming back from the holidays, I was like, "I really don't wanna do this." But I went in, I
mhm,
showed up, and exhausted when I started, and by the time I left, after 2 or 3 new patient evaluations, which, by the way, are 90-minute sessions, like, they take a lot out of me,
mhm.
but I felt so excited, and the patients were so excited, and they were telling me, "Oh, I can't wait to come back. I'm so thankful that I found you." I drove home just
On a
smiling.
high,
I was on a
buzzing.
high. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "This is the coolest shit ever.
I
I love my
actually
life."
so remember you posting a story about that
Really?
story, yes, I remember that. Like, as you were saying, I'm like, "Yeah, I remember this exactly."
Dedicated follower,
I
thanks.
know. I'm Rehab with Ronnie stan. Yeah, but, like, it's hard work, like, it does not negate the fact that, like, it's hard work and it takes a lot of you and takes a lot of determination, dedication. And also, wanna put this out there, that even what you are meant to do, even the career that's perfectly aligned with your values and your aptitudes and your interests, and you're like, "This makes the most sense for my life. I'm gonna do this career," it's still not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, a job is a job.
Yeah.
And there are gonna be parts that you don't like to do, you know? Like, I am so my poor ADHD, like, I'm so bad at paperwork and admin and that kinda stuff, like, it kills me,
Mhm.
and I do have to do some of that stuff, and, like, that's not really fun for me, but 95% of it is fun, and, like,
Yeah.
that makes it worth it, but I think there's this misconception of like, "Oh, I'm gonna, like, find my dream job, and there's not
If
gonna."
you love what you do, you won't
You
work a day
never
in
work
your
a day.
life.
False, not true, hot take, but yeah, like, work is still work, and there's still gonna be parts you don't like, but if it's what you should be doing and what is aligned with your life and what you want, like, the good stuff outweighs the bad so much.
Yes. I often get DMs from people because I've talked about this on the podcast before. So whether they've listened to the podcast or maybe seen me talking online about it, I am pretty open about the fact that I work pretty much 7 days a week. This
Mhm.
is technically work. It's a Sunday. We're recording.
Yeah.
But after this, I'm going to have to edit my other episode and get clips together and, follow up with patients. There's a lot of things that I have to do, and it's pretty much nonstop.
Mhm.
And that's okay. But people will message me and say, you left your corporate job because it was so overwhelming and too much work, and now you're working even more. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And it's very hard to put into words or to explain until you've just experienced it yourself.
Mm.
But the rewarding feeling that comes from doing something yourself, even if it's not a huge success yet, you know that you're working towards something that
Mhm.
isn't benefiting the shareholders, and you're not giving all your time away and like
Yeah.
bleeding out in your velvet coffin.
Yeah, like, I'm doing this for me and my family or, like, me and the lifestyle that I want and me and my goals, not yeah, like, I'm going to work for the man, you know?
Yeah. So do you think that a lot of people in the future that you work with will come to the same conclusion?
That's a great question. I don't know because I do feel like some people thrive best in a more structured environment. Like not everyone in the whole world is meant to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Like I have a coworker and she's one of my closest friends and she's so openly because I'm like, oh, I hate it. And she's like, no, I like having a manager. I like the stability of corporate.
Yeah.
She's like, she has wild ADHD. And she's like, I can't harness my ADHD to, like, make it work for me. She's like, "I need someone to, like, keep me on task and keep me on track," and, like, she genuinely enjoys, like, the work that she does in our 9 to 5. And I do think those people exist. So, I think it's a mix. I think more people will kind of get to the work for myself, do my own thing,
Mhm.
or even if it's not working for yourself, like finding a career that kind of is a good flexible blend of something. I think that is
Mhm.
the trend we're going towards, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, it makes me think of one of our family friends who I went to PT school with her. She graduated a year ahead of me. She started her own PT company in Atlanta, and 2 Christmases ago, we were at Jake's Christmas party. Jake's my brother, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool that you started." She was so excited about it. Fast forward 1 year later, same Christmas party. I'm like, "How's the business going?" She said, "Girl, I'm done. I
Yep.
can't do it. I can't deal with uh, the unknown, the
Mhm.
uncertainty. One week I'm gonna make great money, the next week I'm gonna see no patients." And I get that. I was like,
Totally.
"Oh, yeah, 100%." And I think I've mentioned it before, but it serves to mention that having a stable income with, like, a partner definitely
Yeah,
helps,
it does help.
And I'm not saying that's 100% why she decided not to do it, but she was PT, starting her own business, and was like, "I don't like the uncertainty. I wanna have someone tell me what to do. I wanna have set hours. I don't wanna be thinking about work 24/7."
Yep.
So, yeah, it
Again,
takes
not to plug, it goes back to your values, so you should really figure out what your values are.
so go to loom.com, loomcareers.com.
Let's chat about your values.
What do you wish more people knew about their careers? Let's take a brief moment to pause this episode so I can talk to you about Jane. Jane is my clinical management software that I have been using for the past 2 years. Before I started using Jane, I was a one woman show trying to run the ship with horrible systems. I was taking payments with the Square app. I was scheduling people via Google Calendar. I was documenting in one place, and then I was texting people to remind them of their appointments. Everything was scrambled, including my head. And then when I got Jane, it was like everything fell into place. I started to feel more like a legitimate business. Patients were getting automated reminders for their appointments. They were filling out their paperwork online before their initial evaluation. They were saving their card on file. They were uploading medical documents as needed. And then on my side of things, I am now able to use AI Scribe for documentation to give me more time with my patients. I can run reports every month to see how the business is doing. Using Jane is like having a coworker with you 24/7. And lucky for you guys, if you are interested in Jane and want to try it out for 2 months, you can do that for free using my code RonniePT2MO. All right, let's get back to the show.
Mm. I already said your career is not linear, and, like, that it seems basic, but people forget that. I think you always ask people because 'cause I'm an avid listener, like, what their quote is, and so this is, like, kind of my quote, but it really relates to your career and your life in general, but, like, wherever you go, there you are. So, like, you can think that a new career is going to change the game for you, or a new role, or getting a promotion, or getting a raise, or whatever it is going to,
Mhm.
like, fix all your problems and make you love your career or make you love your life. But wherever you go, there you are. So, like, if you don't do the work to really get where you need to be and, like, know yourself and feel like you're on the path that you need to be on, like, the problems are just gonna follow you, or, like, the, discontentment's just gonna follow you. It might fade for a second, but you gotta do the hard work first, you know?
Mhm. And it is hard. I think
It is hard.
that yes, I think people are realizing that careers are less linear, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody has kind of zoomed out and realized, like, okay, what our parents did is not exactly
Yeah.
how we're going to function.
Mhm.
But yeah, that doesn't overshadow the fact that it is just tough to
It's
figure it out,
tough, yeah.
and it's ever evolving. It really is.
It
Because like
is.
what you're doing right now, in 10 years, you can come back on the
It'll be
podcast and you
so
can be like,
different.
so I actually started a corporation and I'm in
Yeah.
corporate.
Corporate baddie. No, but, like, it's so true, and, like, that is exciting to me, and I think, like,
Mhm.
that's why this line of work makes sense for me is when I was preparing to launch Loom, and I was so nervous because I care about what people think about me, like, I'm not even gonna lie here. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's so embarrassing to, like, launch my
Mm.
own company and, like, take the risk, like, what if it's a failure and people are gonna talk about me?" And, like, spoiler alert, no one gives a shit what you're doing. Like, they really don't care.
Facts.
But yeah, like, you have all these, like, voices in your head, and I was talking to my husband and to my therapist, and I was like, "It's the here and now that scares me." I was like, "5 years from now, I see all the possibility. I see what this could be. I could go this direction. I could do
Mhm.
this. I could specialize in this." And, like, it's not because I don't have direction, it's because things evolve so much. And so the way I start it now, like, there's no way that Loom's gonna be the exact same in 5 years. Like, I
Mhm.
hope not, like, it's gonna
Right.
evolve so much, and that's so exciting to me. It's more of, like, taking a leap of faith that was scary to me. But for
Yeah,
some people, like, that evolution piece in the unknown is scary.
it is. But I would say for most, it's the starting part is the most scary.
Yeah.
At least, and I have a unique position because I get to talk to a lot of people who are in a very similar boat that I was in like 2 or 3 years ago, especially physical therapists that are like, "Do I need to start my own thing? Do I
Yeah.
make that jump?" That part's really scary.
It
Like,
is.
it is just I don't know.
It's
It's
terrifying
comfortable.
because we're humans and we care what people think, and, yeah, we get comfortable. We get in our velvet coffin, but you get comfortable and you're like, "Is this, like, the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life? Like, is
Mhm.
this gonna be worth it? What if I fall flat on my face?" And, like, you might,
But people have short attention spans and they'll forget.
right? Like,
Yeah.
people might see your Instagram post and then they're on to lunch and have never thought about you again.
No.
Yeah,
No one's thinking about me. I don't live rent free in anyone's head.
exactly. I wish. I could only
Right?
I could only be so special.
Okay, before we wrap it up, because I know you have a client call,
I sure do.
busy queen.
Yeah,
Uh,
booked and busy this Sunday AM.
yes, and that goes back to the theme of it never stops.
No.
But you know what? It is what it is, and it's good. You'd rather have a client call than not.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, if you could go back to yourself at the beginning of your career
Mhm.
before, I don't know. Actually, do I want to do like your 18-year-old self or your Alexa graduating college self? I'm gonna say go back to you graduating
Say they're
college.
both a mess.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
If you could go back to when you were graduating Georgia State
Yeah.
and give yourself some career advice, what would you say?
Mm. I think I would say to trust the process. I'm a planner, and, like, planning brings me comfort. My husband's like, "You're never content." And I'm like, "It's not that, like, I'm a future forward thinker, and I
Mm,
like to map things out." And I think I had to learn the hard way, like, post-college, that things never go as planned. Never, ever, ever go as planned, and that is okay, and they shouldn't. Like, it is so rare when you map out a plan and you just follow it perfectly because, like, life is messy and you're a human and things happen, and
yeah, and how boring would that
how
be?
boring is that?
Yeah.
But like a lot of people, I think I was like, "Okay, well, I have this degree in this one thing, and I'm gonna pick this career path within it, and, like, that's gonna be how my career progresses." And that's just not what happened at all, and I think, 22-year-old Alexa graduating college would have been like, "That's terrifying," and, like, "Get it together, girlfriend," you know? Um, but yeah, like, life doesn't go as planned, but it all works out. It all works out, and I firmly believe that every single thing you do is, like, a step that you had to take to get you to where you're supposed to be going. So,
Yeah. Mic drop.
That's the end of the episode.
That's
Bye,
it.
guys.
Also, now that you're saying this out loud, I'm thinking, I wonder if, let's psychoanalyze you for a second.
Let's do
I
it.
wonder if part of the reason you changed so many times is because you're such a planner
Yeah.
and you were like, well, I've mapped out how everything could go with this career. And now that I've really thought about it, I think I need to switch.
Yeah.
And then you do it and then you'd go to another career and you'd be like you tried to plan so far into the future
Yes.
that you never saw it coming to fruition. And so then you'd course correct.
Yeah, totally. It's like, again, with my love of like researching careers and like understanding them, I have ADHD, so like I hyper focus on things. I go deep. Like I go real deep into it. And yeah, I'd be like, okay, well, there's just one piece of this career that might happen in 10 years. And like, I don't like that piece, you know?
Yeah.
And I would just pivot and like, it's all worked out. It's fine. But I think reminding yourself that one, the career itself is going to change. Like what the career is today and what the career is in 10 years, like that piece that I decided I didn't like probably will be obsolete in 10 years anyways, But you're going to change and the career is going to change. And just because you start on this one path doesn't mean it's where you're going to retire in 50 years,
Yeah, and it shouldn't be. It
No.
won't be. Cool.
That's it.
And that's it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I feel so special. I feel like I've made it in life. I love Rehab with Ronnie.
She
Yeah,
does listen to the podcast.
I do listen to it, guys.
Elliot was telling me last night, Elliot's her husband. He's like, no, she listens to it on her commute. And I'm like,
I do.
that just warms my heart.
But like that's what you were saying is like it's so important. It's helped me so much. Like having friends and like people in your life that are also doing the hard, scary things is so inspiring and like so helpful. And I think like you doing your thing, like our friend Hannah like has a side business that like she loves and like kind of launched a little bit before me. Even like Zach and Lizzie, like I don't even like talk to them and hang out with them, but I've known them for 10 years and like I see them.
Oh, they came on the podcast because of that.
I listened.
Yes. I was like, we need to talk about how you guys helped me get to where I am.
Yeah, but it's just so cool and helpful to have people in your life that you're rooting for and that you can look up to as well.
And we're all figuring it out together.
Exactly. No one knows what they're doing.
Scene. All right. Well, we'll have you come back on in a little bit and we'll talk more about
Yay.
more stuff.
I love it. Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye, guys.